Hello there, welcome back to another review. So when you think of Shaw Brothers, right, what do you think of? You think of Kung Fu movies, you think of swordplay movies, you think, okay, when you see that Shaw Brothers logo, that is what you think of. But they didn't stop there. They did touch on other genres, they did make other movies from the likes of romance, horror, opera, and here we have their attempt at a kaiju slash King Kong type of movie, and that is 1977's Mighty Peking Man, starring Danny Lee, Feng, and Evelyne Kraft, who goes through the bulk of the movie wearing very little, I might add. Now obviously any film where you have a giant ape or gorilla, of course you think of King Kong, and I think a huge reason why this film was made was Shaw Brothers looking at the remake starring Jeff Bridges, which happened a year earlier, and then basically saying, do you know what, monster movies are successful, that film was successful and quite a big hit. I think this was Shaw Brothers and the people in charge, producers and so forth, saying, do you know what, we want a slice of that pie, and this is what they tried to achieve with the Mighty Peking Man. Now it's impossible to take this movie seriously. It's cheesy, it's ridiculous, lots of it doesn't make any sense, but there is a general sense of fun about this movie, and despite obviously Shaw Brothers' budget and resources may be lacking compared to the American studios, for their efforts and overall results of the film you have to give them credit, as they damn well had a good solid go at making a monster movie. Now with any film like this there is good amount of positives and negatives, and this is more than likely won't be making anyone's top 10 list, and if it is, it will only be there for pure ironic reasons. But it's one of them films you need to watch for the sheer randomness and ridiculousness of it all. Like, it's one hell of a good bad movie, if that makes sense. We get stilted wooden acting, a love triangle, people changing their motives randomly, a rear projector when animals are involved, simply involving the actors standing in front of the screen in a studio, and naturally of course the cheap effects. But it's all these things and more which just makes the film so worth checking out. Now when the film gets going in the finale, when the film this is when it goes like sort of pure Godzilla mode, and this is where they do make a lot of effort into making a sort of kaiju slash monster movie with great destruction and miniature work. This is when the film is at its best and showing what you want to see, and it looks great, and I think this is largely thanks to Toho Studio special effects expert, I think his name is Sadamasa Arikawa is how you pronounce his name, I could be totally wrong, but it was somebody from Toho who actually come on board with this film to help with the special effects, and that does show at the end of the movie, because it's very silly, it's a hell of a silly movie, but by the end, if you wanted, you know, it's enough to rival any of them classic Godzilla movies, and I think for their efforts, bearing in mind this wasn't necessarily Shaw Brothers' forte, this was not at all what Shaw Brothers were known for, I think overall, despite how silly it is, it actually doesn't come off too bad. It's just a shame we have to wait nearly the bulk of the movie's runtime to get there when you're talking about the special effects. Some people have ridiculed the special effects in the film, but this was 1977, and like I say, for all its intents and purposes, the film does a pretty good job of accomplishing what it sets out to achieve. And I think, yes, like I mentioned, Peking Man is silly, but don't be too hard on it, because I think there is a bit of heart there to give the viewers what they want to see. You know, there is a general effort there to give viewers a monster movie done Shaw Brothers style, and it works. It does work in a very, very random, bizarre way. And they didn't just stop there. It wasn't just the idea of a monster movie which was different from your usual Shaw Brothers film, but also the location here. The film goes to India to give its sense of scope and something new to what the local audiences had seen at the time. Have to love how Danny Lee as our lead here is just an explorer recruited by Feng to help capture and bring back the mighty Peking Man, if I can say the character's name right. Well, it's not even a character, is it? It's just a guy in a suit, but you know what I mean. So anyway, Danny Lee's like this explorer. Feng, great to see him on board with this one as well, and he's been sort of recruited to sort of go, and he's the only man who can do it, right? He's the only man who can just get this mighty Peking Man. And no sooner has the film started and we are off on our expedition, like there's no character backstory, there's no sort of big huge character development or anything like that. As soon as the film starts, Danny Lee's been recruited, right, we're off on our expedition, off we go. Like I mentioned, no idea of who these people are, their context, their characters, their backstory, anything like that. No, we are just off to capture this giant ape. The only flashback they give us is that Danny Lee's that his girlfriend cheated on him with his brother, a plot the film really didn't need or could have easily done without, but we will just go with it for the sake of it, right? But they try and give this backstory that his girlfriend cheated on him, he's through a bit of hard times, but he's still sort of reading on from that. Again, it's the kind of thing they've thrown in there and you're just like, why? Like, why did we even need that in there? So our first bit of action is like an elephant stampede, again using that rear projector, especially a moment where Danny Lee is obviously in the studio firing a gun at a screen, and if you do watch the film you'll know the bit I'm talking about, because it is literally just him standing in front of a projector firing a prop gun. And this is one of them films, and I love, don't you just love films like this, that when you're watching it, you know there's this look on your face. As the film plays out, there's this look on your face that just has this, okay, what the hell am I watching kind of look on your face. And the Mighty Peking Man is one of them movies. So he gets ambushed by the Mighty Peking Man, or Ah Wang as he is known, is played by Evelyne Kraft as Ah Wang, who is sort of like, she's like a Tarzan rip-off kind of thing. She's wearing, first to say, she's got like a, she's in bikini and this kind of thing, but she's sort of like a, it plays into that sort of Tarzan type of character, as I say, you know, and she's sort of like, she's this blonde bombshell version of Tarzan. Have to admit, she does look great in her sort of distressed bikini and loincloth. I'm not going to argue with that. You know, I've got no objections to that in the movie. And the special effects in this movie, again, limited to what they have to do at the time. They have this giant paw, right? They've made this giant paw. So in certain scenes, somebody's just sort of laying on this giant paw to give the impression it's the Mighty Peking Man's hand. And they really do make the most of this prop, believe me. You do see it quite a number of times. But it's used in such a like sort of fun way and gimmick that you can't, like I mentioned, you can't give it a hard time. But you do get a bit, not tired of it, but they just make sure they do get squiv out of most of this prop as possible. Anyway, she's been living in the jungle since she was like little, as her parents died in a plane crash and was sort of raised by this giant ape. So now that's like her backstory complete, okay? That's all that, again, Danny Lee was cheated on, her parents died in this plane crash, she's been sort of raised in the jungle, and that's about as much context and backstory as we get in terms of character development. So she's been in the jungle all this time, right? Years have passed. It's not like she's been there just a few months. She's been in this jungle all the time. So you think she'd be quite like more aware of her surroundings and sort of her habitat and the creatures and the wildlife and everything like that. So she's been in the jungle all this time, and then and only then does she get bitten by a snake. We have like super 70s cheesy music as her and Danny Lee are bonding, and we get the classic running in slow motion as well, and for no reason whatsoever swinging and spinning this leopard round and round at one point, which I think is obviously drugged or something, I don't know, but she has like sort of this leopard on her shoulders that she's spinning round and round, and again all in slow motion with this cheesy schmaltzy music going on. And again the face will come back if anybody's looking at you with the what the hell am I watching kind of face. So this giant ape gets taken to Hong Kong, alright, because of Feng, and it's great having Feng here. He's on great villain form here, as I say. So he wants to get this, he's the sort of the villain of the film. So once we get to Hong Kong, we have this whole love triangle happening, which really doesn't go anywhere. Kraft doesn't actually change from her bikini, even when she gets to the city. Feng goes from just a greedy businessman to assaulting our way and trying to kidnap her. Like, this is what I'm talking about, characters' motives changing. One minute he's just this greedy businessman who just wants to make money out of the Mighty Peking Man. Then he turns into sort of as like assault and kidnapping and all these things like that. It's like, for no reason at all. I mean, he was a villain, yeah, okay, we sort of got that. But then they just sort of overkill the character completely, and Feng just sort of hands it up a little bit, but they've made that for no reason whatsoever his character just goes from sort of okay a villain to like okay a really nasty piece of work that's started resorting to kidnapping people. Like I say, characters' motives and their decisions in the movie very seldom make sense, but it's the ending of the movie that makes the film worth watching. When Peking Man is being attacked by the helicopters, the miniatures work on the city is great. We have neon signs, bridges, even washing hanging out, which I thought was a nice little touch. Them little like that bit of detail here, like when you look at the miniatures, there's some scenes on some of the buildings like where there's little bits of like washing hanging out, which I thought was actually quite a nice touch. Also apartments and car parks, all of which gets destroyed and part of the carnage, and like I say, the miniature work really isn't bad at all. Ends the only way a film like this can, with Peking Man climbing a giant building, the military getting involved and want to blow it up, and Feng getting stamped on just for good measure. Hey, why not? I mean, it's super random, it's goofy, it's ridiculous, and there is no nothing here that will test your brain cells too hard. But if you want to watch Shaw Brothers movie, then like it's more than an adequate attempt. I'd mention like a monster movie. I know I'm like sort of making out it is a silly movie, and you, like I say, you can't take it seriously. It's one of them films. But it will stick with you because for the most part it does accomplish everything it sets out to achieve. But as I mentioned at the start review, unfortunately we have to go through this whole schmaltzy, over the top, doesn't make any sense sort of love story with these two people, and you just want to get to some destruction. You just want to get to see the mighty Peking man sort of wreak and cause havoc, which he does do at the end of the movie, but you just have to wait a little while to get there. But as I say, it's a more than adequate attempt at a King Kong monster movie. Then, you know, I think they do, for by and large, they do succeed in what they're trying to do. I guarantee there will be something in this movie that will make you laugh and smile and raise an eyebrow, probably all at the same time. So if you have seen Mighty Peking Man, make sure to leave a note in the comments below, because I'd love to know what you think of the movie. So thank you very much indeed for watching. I hope you enjoyed the review, and I'll see you again soon.
Don't concentrate on the finger or you will miss all that heavenly glory.